actual education immersive, led by Grace and her team. So we'll go ahead and get started here. To begin, we do have a quick video for you, so go ahead and press play on this.
We all have a genius inside of us. We all have a special talent. And I think our jobs as human beings is to find that thing and let it shine.
It's so important for companies like Adobe to recruit and retain diverse talent. Adobe's Digital Academy program is an innovative idea to get people from non-traditional backgrounds into tech.
As a kid, I always knew that there was more to life than what I was experiencing. I was almost by my senior year in high school. There weren't a lot of opportunities for me that had any of this in it.
We didn't have other people in our communities that were doing this work. Hispanics, for example, people of color. And if they are there, we weren't seeing them.
Digital Academy was something so new. I had never heard of a company actually wanting to help non-traditional students get into the tech field. Worked in marketing for a while, really didn't like what I was doing. My husband just mentioned programming. I was like, I can't do that. That's not me. Started teaching myself, got into HTML and CSS and loved it. I knew that I wanted to do this.
The Digital Academy would offer a stipend and, pay for everything.
This was an awesome opportunity where we got to see other people like us working here and everybody thinking, maybe I could do that.
The fact that in 6 months, someone can go from having no technical background to being ready to contribute on a team in a technical environment like Adobe is phenomenal.
We brought Celeste on as an intern, then we got her a full-time offer.
I worked really hard and now I'm a software development engineer here at Adobe.
As engineers, we got really close to the product and we saw the world through our lens. The Digital Academy candidates, Celeste in particular, was able to bring an entirely new perspective. Once we were able to see our product through her eyes, there was a lot of things we needed to fix. Software engineering is constantly evolving, and the world is changing more quickly than we can keep up. The IT industry needs to pull in more people in order to meet that demand.
We believe Digital Academy is a model that other companies can adopt to get more talent into tech, which is to all of our benefits.
Much of the goal of Adobe Digital Academy is to prepare you to apply anywhere, not just Adobe. I did find another opportunity in LinkedIn. I let them know about all the skills I had gained through the Adobe Digital Academy, and it was a perfect fit.
I never knew that I could do what I'm doing today. I'm a product manager on the digital imaging research and innovation team. What that means is I get to work on all the really cool toys. We are a creative company that teaches the world to dream. Not only do we create the products that make the impossible happen, but by investing in programs like the Digital Academy is to say that we know that you have something special.
All right, folks. So after that inspirational video, I'll go ahead and make space so that we can introduce some of the folks that are co-facilitating our conversation today for the info session. So I'll go ahead and begin. I'll pass it over to Molly if you'd like to start.
Thanks, Natalie. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We are so excited to have you here. My name is Molly Holt, and I am a university talent partner here on the Adobe side of things. I've been with Adobe for a little bit over 2 years now, and I was lucky enough to help support this program last year, and I even had a couple DA interns of my own. So this program is definitely very close to my heart as well. I'm just so excited to have you all here. I'll pass it over to my counterpart, Christina.
Thanks, Molly. Hey, everyone. My name's Christina Turner. I'm also a University Talent Partner here at Adobe. Including my acquisition time, I'm almost 8 years in now, based in our San Jose headquarters, and working alongside all of these beautiful faces here. Natalie, I'll pass it over to you.
Thanks, Christina. So my name again is Natalie Contreras. I'm a program manager supporting the Adobe Digital Academy. I'm on Adobe's corporate social responsibility / social impact team. So all things philanthropy, sustainability, and corporate sponsorships. I actually joined for the role that I'm in currently in 2019, but a fun fact, and I'm happy to speak on it a little bit further along in the presentation, is that I'm also a Digital Academy alum. So I learned about this opportunity through a nonprofit organization called Hack the Hood in 2017 and completed a introductory Intro to Tech coursework program with them, and then they referred me over to this wonderful opportunity that Adobe was offering at the time. I went ahead, submitted my application, was offered the scholarship, and then I came back to join Adobe for an internship over the summer of 2018. Happy to share again, as I mentioned. So yeah, I'll be going on now into my sixth year going on. And I'm just really excited to be in the capacity supporting this program and supporting interested folks like yourself, because I was in your same place many years back. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass it over also to General Assembly. So I'll pass it over to you, Grace.
Hey everyone, I'm Grace. I am the manager of admissions delivery over here at General Assembly. That just means I manage the admissions for all of our sponsored programs. I've been with General Assembly for 5.5 years. I've been managing Adobe for the last 3. I know I've spoken to a lot of y'all already. You're probably getting emails from me. If you haven't, you will soon. And yeah, I'm excited to be able to chat with you guys more about the admissions process in a bit. I'm going to pass this over to Caroline.
Hi, everyone. My name is Caroline. I am an admissions specialist at General Assembly. I work closely with Grace on this Adobe project, and that does mean that I get to speak with a lot of you and a lot of applicants for this Adobe Digital Academy. So I've been very excited to really hear everyone's stories and to hopefully be able to enroll many of you coming up in this actual program after this admissions process. So I'll go ahead and pass it on to Kariana.
Hello, everyone. What a pleasure to be with you all tonight. And my name is Kariana. I am the Director of Client Delivery and U.S. Operations here at GA. And it's my team that oversees all things training, and you'll hear a lot from my counterpart, Shivangi, throughout the program if you are admitted. Really excited to be with you all. I've been at GA for 5 years, and I've also had the distinct pleasure of working on the Digital Academy program throughout my years here. So thrilled to be with you all. And what you can see is that you have a really robust team supporting you throughout this journey, and we're really excited to welcome you to it.
Thank you all so much. So going to our next list of items, it's just a quick overview of what we hope to cover on the agenda. It will be pretty information heavy. We'll try to make sure that we go through the most important details of the application itself. We already completed our introduction. We'll go into what the key resources are and a program overview, as well as the timeline for the Digital Academy. We'll then pass it over to General Assembly, and they'll make sure to go over all things application process and the student journey, what that looks like, as well as the eligible courses. So just to remind you, software engineering, user experience design, data science, and digital marketing being part-time. And then we'll go ahead and transition over to the part where Molly and Christina will share from the Adobe talent side on the internship experience. And then we'll close up with the DA alum speakers, who will be sharing a little bit more about what it was like to go through this past year of the Digital Academy 2024 cohort. And we'll go ahead and close the presentation and transition over to Q&A for you. So I wanted to share just a quick image of our community. As you can see, very diverse. people from a lot of different backgrounds are always interested in learning about this opportunity and end up applying and going through the process. So we're really happy to be able to offer it into another year. We get a lot of questions all the time in terms of what is the Digital Academy, and at a high level, it is a career switch pathway for individuals from non-traditional backgrounds to land roles within the tech industry who either don't have an existing network or connections to be able to do so, and also who are requiring that financial assistance. And so we provide essentially the 12-week immersive program of the learner's choice with an additional living stipend in addition to covering the tuition costs, which then we can go into a little bit more in the conversation on what happens after that point. But at the initial point, it is a scholarship that we're offering for qualified candidates. Just to give you a quick high level for our resources, after the recap email goes out, you'll receive a link over to the FAQ, so frequently asked questions about all things DA. And it is an Adobe Express page, so just expect all of the information that you might have questions for. We'll most likely cover them on this call, and or they'll exist in this document. So I just want to give you a visual of what that's going to look like. Now moving into the program overview and the timeline. So at a glance, the program is broken into these 3 phases. So phase 1 is the education component. Phase 2 is the experience. So that is hopefully you landing a role in an apprenticeship/internship program. And then our third piece of the 3 is this idea of long-term success being measured by a full-time job or any role that is connected to or associated post-education, right? And so I wanted to share this high-level overview. We'll go into the timeline shortly after. And just a quick reminder that each step in the process is not guaranteed, but we will work with you and General Assembly to support for what next steps may look like. In terms of our education, GA is actually going to go into more detail on it, but just so that you're aware, during the program and the immersive, we host these Adobe Digital Academy alumni lunches, and really it's an effort for us to check in on how everyone's doing. We get ongoing feedback from our education partner, which is GA, so that we can assess the readiness of all of our learners for the internship, which is the next step, and also on how individuals are picking up the languages, frameworks, or tools that they're learning in GA. So again, the first piece, think about the education component, which is what the scholarship is covering, the tuition for the 12-week intensive boot camp. Our cohorts are slated to begin early February, so please make a mental note that in February, folks will be required to be fully engaged in the immersive that they select, and that will conclude with graduation happening around May 2025. So during this time, as I mentioned a bit ago, we receive ongoing feedback from your direct instructors, and this is so that we determine eligibility and who we would like to refer for the interview portion with hiring managers. Step 1, that's what it looks like. Step 2 is the potential for an internship. This is the part that is not guaranteed, but I'll still go into a step-by-step on what that's going to look like. So our hiring managers that participate on the Adobe side to be mentors / hiring managers for our DA scholars, they're notified of eligible candidates around April 2025. So that's when we'll be requesting resumes and the instructor feedback from General Assembly. And so those recommended students would then be scheduled for interviews if they are selected by the managers in May of 2025. Our internships then begin as early as June 2025. And during this part of the program, so the internships going from June, July, August, and concluding in September, you're receiving ongoing support and feedback from mentors that you're assigned, your actual hiring managers, And you also are able to connect and have access to the employee networks and resource groups that we have at Adobe. So think of these such as Women at Adobe, the Black Employee Network, HOLA, Hispanic Employee Network, and the likes. And so this third part to conclude is the job placement. And so we're really hoping that through this kind of like launching of the career switch, that high performing individuals do get the opportunity to apply for the full-time opportunity at Adobe. But again, this is based on the feedback from the team, the hiring manager, and probably most importantly, what the business needs are at that time. So to conclude on this portion of it, individuals that complete the internship, they may be recommended to interview with teams with other teams if they are not selected for the teams that they intern with, as well as being referred out to other partner companies and organizations. So moving along into our timeline, I feel like it helps me to see things a little bit more side by side. So just to give you the high level, where we're at now, scholarships are open. Our applications are active and they will go until October 10th. That is when you have until to apply to GA and apply specifically for the Adobe Digital Academy Scholarship in December. We'll have gone through application reviews. We leverage our volunteer application readers, our Digital Academy alumni, as well as volunteer Adobe employees alongside the university talent team to review the applications that you all will submit. And we'll go ahead and make those decisions for admission in December of 2024. And so this gives you about 2 months to prepare for your actual immersive or bootcamp program, which would begin in February of 2025. I will make a note that I think all of the immersive programs require some sort of pre-bootcamp or materials that you'll be requested to complete. So just put a mental note that from December and January into February, more likely than not, you'll be working on that pre-work before your immersive begins. So that's in the winter time. As we transition into the spring and folks are still in the immersive, we actually then go ahead and start collecting resumes and feedback, as I mentioned earlier, from our instructors at GA to share over to the Adobe talent team, and then scheduling folks up for the interviews with the hiring managers for potential internship placement. I'll pause. It's at this point at which graduation is the next step in May. And so while folks are offboarding, selected candidates for the internship would begin to the June 2025 start date. And they also are eligible to join the Adobe Intern Summit at San Jose in the headquartered office. And to close out what the year looks like, around September of that same kind of end of summer, early fall, that is when our internships are slated to end, and the individuals may receive full-time placement on a team based on the feedback, business needs, availability. And then imagine this time frame from September to December, which is actually what we're in now, where individuals who are extended for their internship may receive a full-time offer as early as December 2025. And again, just want to put a reminder, no step in this process is a guarantee, but we're going to do our best to support folks. Okay, so a big question that comes up is, what is the DA scholarship criteria? What do folks want to know about these learners who are passionate about making the career switch and want to get into roles in tech? So a big question we receive, is, do I need to have previous background or software engineering experience or computer science degree? The answer is no, you do not. This program was designed specifically to support the onboarding of candidates from alternative backgrounds. So non-traditional backgrounds are encouraged to apply. That means career switchers, so you don't have to be currently enrolled in any tech-related degree program. And you also do not necessarily require technical acumen. Prior knowledge is not required disclaimer. For data science, that has its own set of prerequisite requirements, but you can discuss the needs and what the data science track are looking for with the admissions producers at General Assembly. And so then moving into what we're looking for in the app, we want to really hear, and we hope that what you share with us and that stands out is that in your responses, in your essay responses, you're sharing with us that you have a dedication to a career switch, that you're dedicated to learning coding, data science, design, marketing, whatever it is, whichever program that you're applying for, your why behind that. And then a lot of this program is based on this idea of a growth mindset. So thinking about using moments of perceived quote unquote failure and really assessing them as opportunities for growth, and also using them as opportunities to collect, gather feedback, and implement it, right? We also want to see and be able to perceive in your responses that you demonstrate a certain level of grit. So how have you overcome challenges? And are you able to share about a time or a background experience where that was the case? Also just general communication skills, our overall potential for success in GA's bootcamp, the internship, and the potential for full-time. And then I think I would close out this section with just really giving you the opportunity to feel empowered to share your story. What is your why? I think the more you can set yourself up and your unique experience and why and how it would be a value add to not just General Assembly and participating in their education platform, but also Adobe and the tech industry as a whole. Give us the opportunity to bring us into your world and share about your why and what are the main motivations behind why you want to do this and at this time. So with that, I spoke a lot, but I'm happy to turn it over now to General Assembly. So I'll go ahead and pass this over to you, Grace and team.
Perfect. Hey, everyone. I'm back. If you want to head to the next slide, Natalie. And the next one. Awesome. So it looks like there are a lot of steps to your application. I promise it's not as bad as it seems. The first step is to submit your application. I did drop our landing page into the chat. We'll post it a few more times as we go along. It will have all of the applications. You will have to fill that out in full, and we will be contacting folks from there. If you are qualified based on your application, we'll schedule a call with you. We'll chat through your background, your goals, get to know a little bit more about you, and then chat through the courses, the expectations, and some next steps. If we determine that, this is the right next step for you, we'll send over an admissions task. It will cover either basic software engineering, data, or UX. Typically 5 to 6 hours of work just to make sure you're still interested in it, along with a supplemental application that will include more questions about your background and gives you a chance to bring your best self. That will be followed by a 30-minute interview via Zoom with myself, Caroline, or other coworker Karina, potentially one of my other coworkers who is on the larger team. We'll review your task. We will, ask additional questions that we have. We'll answer any that you have. And then the waiting begins. We'll be submitting everything over to Adobe in November, and decisions will be released in December. And if you want to go to the next slide. Just some quick FAQs. We are a small and mighty team. You will receive a response. Please allow us some grace, no pun intended. And we will get back to you as soon as we can. And then the other big one we get a lot, when does the program actually begin? February 2025. I can't believe we're already at 2025 and not 2024. My apologies, guys. If we want to hop to the next one. So then once you're in the classroom, classes will begin in February. You'll, receive outcomes and career support throughout. to help you prepare for those interviews for the Adobe talent team if you're selected. Adobe interviews will take place in April, internship notifications in May, and then you graduate late May, early June. So it is a very, very busy few months, but it will all be worth it. That career coaching, you'll be working on your personal brand, your portfolio, resumes, utilizing job search platforms, anything and everything that goes along with looking for that job post-graduation. So we have a few courses that are eligible for 2025. That includes the Software Engineering Bootcamp, the User Experience Bootcamp, Data Science Bootcamp, and our Digital Marketing Short Course. So 3 full-times and 1 part-time. So software engineering, you'll be in a full stack course. It's going to cover HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, and Python. This is a full-time course, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., an additional 10 to 20 hours of work outside of class each week. So it is 60-hour-a-week commitment for 12 weeks, but it is beginner-friendly. There are no prerequisites, but we found the most successful students have, started to learn on their own, might have a little bit of practice, whether I'm aging myself by saying you did stuff on MySpace, or, you've just noodled around with all sorts of, different YouTube videos and other programs. Up next, we also have, Natalie, if you want to go to the next slide, our UX Design Bootcamp. So this is going to cover that entire UX flow from research and ideation all the way through wireframing, prototyping, and eventually launching a great product. You will be spending a lot of time on research. You'll be learning to work with other stakeholders. And this is, again, full-time course, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. This is also beginner-friendly. And I always recommend folks check out, again, YouTube videos, books, all kinds of free resources online in order to get some design skills and UX exposure. Then the next one should be data science. This is slightly different than our other 2 programs in that it is a little bit more intermediate level. This is going to be fully based in Python. So we do ask that students come in with a pretty strong math or data background, familiarity with Python or other programming fundamentals. And while not required, we do, typically recommend a bit more of a technical background than with our other courses. Once again, full-time remote, 9 to 5, with definitely closer to 20 hours a week outside of class. And then our last course would be the Digital Marketing Short Course. This is a part-time program, 2 evenings per week for 10 weeks, typically 7 to 9 p.m. You'll have 4 to 6 hours of homework each week, and it will take you through the full marketing flow, including strategy to all of your digital channels, Google Analytics, and it's definitely beginner-friendly. I do see some great questions coming in that apply to all of these. Our courses should all be running Pacific Standard. That means for you East Coasters, it is going to be a little bit later in the day, and it all will be remote. So this will be via Zoom. You'll have your live instructor and peers, and you'll be working with them through lectures, group projects, individual work, and then you'll have projects to go along with each unit. We can include syllabi for all these courses when we send out the recording as well as the deck at the end of this.
Thanks so much, Grace. So it was awesome to hear a bit from General Assembly in terms of the flow for the immersives. We're going to transition over now into the internship portion, and we'll hear more from the Adobe talent team. So go ahead and pass this over to Molly and Christina.
Perfect. Thank you, Natalie. Now that you've learned more about General Assembly's bootcamp, we can dive in a little bit more to Adobe's internship program. As you can kind of see, here is what the interview process will be like with Adobe. We will start in April of 2025, and that is where the top participants from General Assembly who are in good standing will be shared with Adobe for consideration for an interview. And at that point, we will also request you to submit an updated resume. And then hiring managers will review and select candidates they'd like to interview. As a note, as Natalie has mentioned before, interviews as a whole are not guaranteed, as well as the number of interviews that each candidate might have also will vary just depending on what teams are specifically interested in you and your resume and your background. And then after all interviews are completed, participants and the hiring managers will submit their feedback as well. And then we will go through a team matching process. And then offers will be extended typically end of April into early May. You can go to the next slide, Natalie. And then for our internship program, if you are selected for an internship with Adobe, our intern program will be 12 weeks over the summer, typically starting in the middle of June, going all the way to early September. And our program is really divided into 3 main pillars. So community, lessons with leadership, and learning the business. We will be hosting an intern orientation just to get you welcome to the company, just to get you familiar with all of our intern benefits and what the summer will look like. We will do social hours, intern events, even opportunities to meet our CEO, product demos, as well as our infamous intern summit, where we actually fly out all of our interns to our headquarters in San Jose, where you have the opportunity to meet all of your fellow DA cohort members, as well as interns from our overall class. So it's a really great opportunity to build community within the Digital Academy program specifically, as well as all of the alumni that has come before you, as well as you also get to build that community with the rest of all of our other interns that come through our program as well. So now I'll pass it over to Christina to talk more about our intern project expo.
Thank you, Molly. And I think I did something on my end, but I can't see the slides, so I'm just going to assume they're good to go. And jump right in about the Project Expo. So one unique aspect of the Adobe Internship Program is our Intern Project Expo, which is an opportunity for interns to actually showcase the impact of their summer projects to all Adobe employees across the world. Over the course of the 12-week internship, all interns will work on an individual project that has direct application to your team's work. So we host this company-wide expo in order to highlight what our interns are contributing across the globe. It's also great to see what interns are bringing to their teams. Employees can ask questions, provide feedback, and even vote for their favorite projects. And then, of course, we want to make sure that you feel like you're a part of your team. So throughout the internship program, all interns will be assigned, a manager and a buddy who basically acts like a mentor for yourself. Think of that person you can turn to and ask any questions you might have. Also, Natalie and the team will provide you with a number of alumni that you can connect with on a one-on-one basis. So you can hear more about their experience through Digital Academy and what resources maybe were helpful to them to get the most out of the experience. And then, of course, we have all of our employee networks that you can build a network with. You get to interact with them as much as you choose to. You can be a part of local events, global events, in a virtual nature, whatever you choose. And lastly, stay connected with what's going on at Adobe. You can follow us on any of our social sites using hashtag Adobe Life. And with that, I will go ahead and pass it back to Natalie.
Thank you so much, Christina and Molly. So we'll go ahead and transition now to the last segment of our presentation, which is the Digital Academy alumni experience. And I'll just start by inviting our 2 guest alum speakers so they can go ahead and get situated on the call, but I wanted to share a couple images from our prior years across the different offices, San Francisco, San Jose, and just wanted to give you a highlight of who some of these individuals are. Happy to share this photo from our 2024 cohort. So this was taken only, 2 months ago, at San Jose headquarters, which was really awesome. It was for Intern Summit. And yeah, I just love to highlight and lead with the way that we're able to develop and really build a strong community of learners and people that really just want to kind of leap into this, not having too many expectations or prior knowledge or even know that many people in tech, but having the willingness to learn and really push themselves into a career that they find fulfilling. So as we get closer to our next slide for DA alumni questions, I will invite our two speakers to go ahead and introduce themselves. So today we have Iris and Miguel, so welcome both. And they are going to be able to share with you a little bit about their background. So I'll ask for an introduction for you both. So what immersive were you a part of? And right now, what is your current team and role at Adobe?
I can go first. So my name is Miguel Correa. I am a part of the 2024 cohort. I was in the software engineering immersive program. Currently, I am working for the real-time segmentation team. It's it's under Adobe's Experience Platform product, which is a business-to-business solution that they have. Currently, I'm working on my second internship. I completed the first one 2-3 weeks ago, and I'm starting the second one. I guess it's the same one. It just got extended, and I'll be full time in Adobe on December. In this year, December, I'll be converted to full time. What was my experience like working remote? I mean, it was really tough. It's kind of like nonstop, right? So if the class is going to last 3 to 4 months, you have to really make sure you're committing that time. You have to be on your P's and Q's all the time. Like there's going to be homework. There's a lot of sacrifice. So it's definitely worth it in the end, but just know that before you decide to move forward, that it's going to be rough, but totally worth it. How have I been challenged in terms of growth since I started here? I would say that, yeah, I mean, it's just like sometimes you got to sacrifice a lot. You sacrifice sleep sometimes, you sacrifice time with family and stuff, but it's all worth it. And then when I started the internship, being put in not even challenging, like uncomfortable situations all the time, right? Like if my manager tells me to do something, I would never really say no. I'll say yes, and I'll figure things out. And it's challenging, but that's where you grow the most. And then advice I can share with you folks is just, try to figure out what your why is. Why are you doing this? It could be money, family. You want to better yourself, your career. But just make sure you have your why defined, and that you are sure you can commit this time and energy, because everyone here has the capability to do it. Just a little quick about my background, if anybody's curious. I dropped out in middle school. I worked labor-intensive jobs for about 10 years. I didn't start coding till I was 25. I'm 28 now. And in those short, 3 years, something like that, I'm here now, right? And it's because I never gave up. And I just kept trying, right, until I got here. So yeah, no high school, no college, no technical background. No one in my family has ever been to college, completed college. But I'm still here, right? So just remember that, figure out your why, and keep at it. Understand, like, something really important, just specifically for software engineering, you have to know your advanced basics. We can talk about that maybe at another time with me in the group. like the official group gets selected, we can talk about that. But yeah, I'll pass it over to Iris.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your story, Mika. It's always incredible to hear, and I feel so thankful to be part of a cohort with such amazing and talented folks. The immersive that I was a part of was the user experience design immersive. Also, hi everyone, my name is Iris Verduzco. And so currently at Adobe, I'm part of the Acrobat team as a user experience designer. And I'm working specifically on some of the newer work that the Acrobat team is incorporating with another Adobe product called Express. And so really integrating that work to bring a lot more new features to the Acrobat platform. My experience being a part of the user experience design immersive at GA, it was very challenging. And like Miguel shared, like it requires a lot of commitment and dedication because you are very busy and there's a lot of work that goes into it. But I do feel really grateful for the cohort that I was a part of. We were all really supportive of one another. And I think that learning experience was just absolutely incredible. And from like the first day that I started this process, I just really felt thankful and appreciative of everybody that I got the opportunity to talk to interact with, to really just listen to and learn from. And even just being on this call right now, one of the first people that I got to talk to was Grace, and a lot of those early conversations of really thinking about what is this user experience design program and do I really seem like a good fit for it, really just kind of were so encouraging and uplifting, that really just inspired me to participate in this program. And I feel really grateful for the opportunity to have been a part of it and to be a part of it now. Throughout the internship or the GA portion, it was really great. A lot of us really got super close to one another. We were constantly sharing our work with each other. And I know in a lot of learning environments, like collaboration isn't really something that's often emphasized. But I would really encourage you all to really get to know who's a part of your cohort, and just really, be supportive of one another. Like at the end of the day, you're really trying to learn and extend your skills. And when you get to connect with others, you get to see oh, maybe this person's really good at this specific skill and you really bring this and you both help each other out. And now you really enhance the skills that you both have. So I feel really grateful that that was a core part of my GA experience, was that me and my teammates, we were in constant communication. We would set study hours together and just have moments to have questions with each other. And there was many opportunities for us to connect with people specifically in my cohort and people in the other DA programs. So that was really exciting. And I think, how have I been challenged in terms of growth? I think growth has been such a huge process throughout this entire journey. I think throughout this whole process, I've constantly been challenged to really embrace that growth mindset. And there were moments where I even asked myself, what does that mean? What does it mean to really just kind of put yourself in a position where you're continuously trying and continuously growing? And a lot of it for myself was, prior to coming into user experience design work, I worked in the nonprofit sector, specifically environmental justice, for over 14 years. And a lot of that work was very fast paced. There weren't many times for iterations, everything I had to do had to be perfect that first time. And so moving away from that type of standard was really challenging in itself, but was really exciting to really just be a part of in this program, because a lot of the design process is iterative. So you're not always going to have that best idea initially. It becomes a process of really listening to what your users are interested in and really thinking about okay, what improvements or what iterations can I continue to incorporate into this? So I would definitely get comfortable with being a part of that part. of like, you know, you're in constant iteration and you're constantly taking in feedback and incorporating that into your work. So, you know, for folks who definitely think they are perfectionists, like, you know, get comfortable unlearning that and learning how to develop different skills that will allow you to continue to get up and try again and try again. And so, you know, that's definitely the advice that I would share with folks, is to definitely be comfortable with learning, be comfortable with failing. I think those were some of my favorite parts in this program and in the internship have been those moments where, you know, I started off a project a certain way and had a certain understanding, but as it's continued to grow, I learn new things and I take in new things and it changes the directions of the things that I've done. And now when I look back at my projects, I really just feel excited at the moments of like, oh, somebody told me this here and there, and that really changed the trajectory of what I was working on. And the last thing I think I would say is just like really lean on each other. I think that's for me, I've always really enjoyed being a part of team efforts and collaborating with people. And so I really kind of set up those spaces throughout my immersive program of really trying to connect with people and get together and have study groups. And even for the people that were just a part of my boot camp, I still am really close to a lot of them and check in with them frequently. And throughout my internship program at Adobe, I've also really kind of made that effort to kind of really connect with people and sustain relationships, because it really feels amazing to be able to do this together, because it's a really intense process. And most of the time, your family members will not understand like the long hours that you're putting in, the weekends, and all of those things. But you have your people that you're in these cohorts with who really understand the things that you're experiencing and are really there to support you. And so ultimately, that's definitely what I would want to leave everyone with, is that, you know, it's a collaborative process and together we go really far.
Thank you both so much for sharing. There have been a couple follow-up questions, just really quick, since we have you on the call now. The first one would be, Miguel, can you define advanced basics on what you mentioned?
Yeah, advanced basics is kind of specifically to software engineers, but if I were to ask anyone in the call who's going in for software engineering, like, can you console.log hello world? Like, what happens when you console.log hello world? I can get some answers in the chat.
Thank you.
Let's see. Okay, yeah. So you get a lot of responses that are like, it prints hello world, right? But like, it's not magic, right? It doesn't magically print hello world. What ends up happening is the thread of execution looks into your global space and it tries to find the console object. It finds it, then the thread of execution goes inside that object and it tries to find the log method. Once you get the log method, it pops it on the call stack, right? When that gets popped on the call stack, thread of execution, new execution context, which is like a magic box in color box. It goes in there, it gets what the user inputted, and then it prints that on the console. And then after that's done, it's not done yet. It pops that off the call stack, right? It pops the log method off, and then you're done. You're done running your program, right? So that's really basic stuff. And if you're able to understand how that works, you can understand any programming language like that exists. Right now, my current position, I'm working in Java. I have taken 0 Java courses, like at all. I can just look at it and I understand it because I understand how console.log works, right? So advanced basics, understand what's happening under the hood. And this applies to any programming language. So yeah.
Thanks, Miguel.
Awesome. I see there's a question for me too about what inspired me to apply to UX. So I'm happy to answer that. So as I was sharing, I previously worked in the environmental justice field for over 14 years. And I really loved the work that I was doing. It was really great. I got to do a lot of nationwide work in the US, but also a lot of international work with folks in Latin America and Europe. And so that was just always like a really amazing process to be able to collaborate with people nationally, internationally, and just really see like what were the uniting factors of like our similar struggles and the work that we're doing. And that was a big part of the work that I did that I really enjoyed, was hearing people's stories, was really thinking about what is the work that we're doing and how can we do it better together. But a little bit about myself too is in undergrad, I had a huge research background, and a lot of the work that I did and throughout my career also involved community-led participatory research. And so I was really looking for kind of something that would allow me to further immerse myself in those spaces and do a lot more research, but make sure that it was really immersive and community-centered and really kind of valued empathy and people's stories, and drove those connections. And throughout my process, when I was looking for different opportunities, I came across user experience design. And initially, the thing that really stood out to me is that one of the core values is empathy. And so at the end of the day, when you're thinking about like what you're creating and what you're building and what you're contributing to, it's to the benefit of users and really listening to what they're saying. I think sometimes what I hear a lot from people is like, oh, user experience design, that's really cool, because I want to create like really beautiful, amazing things. And that's great that we can create beautiful, amazing things. But at the end of the day, like, is it something that is going to bring value to your user base? Is it something that they've asked for? Is it something that they need? Is it solving a problem that they have? And I really love those questions. I really love that the work that I do could be in service to others. And that's what really continued to inspire me throughout this journey, is that I really love to be in spaces where I can contribute and collaborate with others. And I really look forward to the ways that that's explored in the work that I do.
Thank you both so much. What a great way to conclude our session for folks that are interested in applying. Your stories are really important. They matter. It's important for people on this call to understand and hear about your background and your motivations to make the career switch. So I just want to extend my gratitude to you both for making the time and taking a bit away from your busy schedules to just be present and share with folks on the call. And I'm sure they're as appreciative as they've been sharing in the chat. So yeah, thank you both. Super appreciate, and more to come on these conversations, because I think this topic of conversation is so needed, and it's great to see folks who have stepped into leadership to really kind of like go forward with this and just see what they're capable of. So it's really awesome to witness you and everything that you're achieving, and we're really happy for you, and I'm sure your families and your community are super proud of you and all of the things that you have been able to achieve through this. So thank you again for your diligence and for representing the Digital Academy so beautifully. To move into our next steps, so the recap and the recording will be sent to our registered webinar attendees, and we'll also be able to share the links of for you to get started in the applications and anything that are student-facing materials. You can go ahead and review those. So yeah, we're encouraging candidates to apply for the DA scholarship via General Assembly, and we really recommend submitting from now until when the scholarships are slated to close. So with that, we will go ahead and conclude our presentation for today. But we just wanted to say thank you for you all and being on this call. We can go ahead and conclude the recording, please.